and boom goes the dynamite.
Happy Friday the 13th. Where is Jason Voorhees? I don't know, but he's not here on Daily Dive. Welcome into another edition of Daily Dive. If you don't know my Jason Voorhees reference, but I'm your host, Renee Washington. We've got producer Mike here today, planning to get into some more breaking news and exciting news that's been going on around the NLL. And then with it being Friday, plenty of games for us to get into this weekend. So we'll be giving our previews and predictions on the results of those games. And so with that being said, let's get into our top story presented by the Daily Dive store. You can find the link in our link tree on our social media bios and check out our merchandise, beanies, hoodies, you name it, we've got it there. And our top story today, big news around, and it might not be big news to some, but there's many reasons why this is a major headline. With the trade of Chad Cummings heading to New York, the Panther City team has decided to name Matt Hosick captain. So what does this mean for Panther City? Well, Matt won a championship in 2018 with the Rush after being in the finals the year prior and losing in the championship. He's had 9 career playoff games. He's third on the team this season with 32 loose balls. He's third in the NLL with 117 for the season, last season, I should say. And at 28 years old, he brings a lot to this team that is trying to figure out in their youth as one of the newer franchises in the league in recent years of how they can be more competitive, how they can be a playoff team, a championship caliber team. So producer Mike, welcome in. What are your thoughts on Matt being moved to be named captain of Panther City?
Well, they had to make somebody captain. I'd say a nice gritty guy with championship pedigree twice, technically. I mean, he got to it twice. Is a pretty good captain move. And you know, it's funny because I'm 26 and almost a half right now, and this guy's accomplished way more than I have. 117 loose balls last year. I've got this many, so he's doing something right at 28 years old. It is prime, athletic prime too, which is great.
I love that. That's hilarious. You've accomplished a lot, Mike. Let's not get it twisted. Maybe not on the NLL field, but you've accomplished a lot. But look, I think as you're right, and I love the fact you bring up at 28 years old, he is in his prime because he's at a time right now in his career where he's had playoff experiences, he's had championship experience, he's won a championship, and he wants to help his team get to that point. So with him in his prime and a guy that does a little bit of everything, a gritty player that helps add in more ways than than you can name. It's a big move, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it continues to unfold in Panther City as they're trying to turn a corner. Well, also there are some other teams trying to turn a corner. We've seen trades, we've seen front office moves. Well, another trade has come across our Daily Dive news desk. The Thunderbirds traded Jerry Staats to the Swarm for a 2023 second-round pick. Jerry has played in 27 games at Syracuse before being drafted to the Thunderbirds. He was the 29th overall draft pick. He is the cousin of Randy and Austin Staats. And at 6 feet, 206 pounds, brings something to the game. Not sure he's fully found his mark yet in the NLL, but with that, you have to wonder who wins this trade. Was it the Swarm picking up Jerry Staats, or was it the Thunderbirds getting a second-round pick as they're looking ahead and planning for the future in Halifax? What do you think, Mike? Who won the trade?
I'm going to go with Halifax because I hope, first of all, I hope that Randy and I guess Randy and Jerry might be close because it's a lacrosse community, but I hope that they consulted Randy first on this one, being that he's an MVP candidate. I would say it's Halifax though, because Swarm are not good this year, and that's going to be another high second rounder. So picking him 29th overall last year, it was like middle of the pack. So now it's like if the Swarm continue to stink it up, it might be another. It's like another free pick. So we'll see what happens. But all respect to Jerry Staats, but like you say, hopefully he's a late bloomer. But if not, Halifax immediately won the trade. But in 5 years, it could be different.
Yeah, as of now, he's no Randy or Austin. Him and Randy are closer in age. Him and Austin are closer in age, I believe is how that works. And so, I don't know that the Swarm really get much with him, but I do wonder if he is a late bloomer. The fact that he's a Staats gives him a little extra, in my opinion. When you look at what he did in Syracuse and his lacrosse background, he's a talented player, but we'll see if with Georgia he's able to have a better career. But I do think, as we've talked about before on the show, some teams are planning ahead. Some teams are starting now. It's week 7 coming up this weekend. They're looking ahead. All right, well, here's what we need. Here's what we have to figure out. We need some more pieces, and maybe this year might not pan out the way we thought it would. So let's start planning and get some draft capital, make some trades, start making some moves for the future. Well, as we're looking, go ahead.
I was just going to say that maybe the Swarm are banking on the fact that, hey, why get another second rounder, and we can just have another Staats and maybe he blooms. So good, it's good for both. Like I said, Halifax won it.
Yeah, that's a good point. He was a second round pick. You're giving up a second round pick to bring in a second round pick. Yes. I hear what you're saying there. And we'll see. Again, another thing, much like with the move in Panther City to name Matt Hasek captain, we will continue to watch how this unfolds in Georgia as well as in Halifax. Well, as we're talking about the future, there has been another change for the future, as we saw come across that Frameworth has announced they partnered with the NLL and the NLLPA to produce an exclusive line of autographed memorabilia. So as we've been talking about on the show regularly in terms of growing the game, Frameworth, in this partnership with the league and the NLLPA, the Players Association, now being able to produce exclusive. I love that fact that you're going to have something extra that fans and players even, if they wanted to for their families, can have autographed merchandise, autographed memorabilia. What do you think this does for the future of the NLL, and how much do you think this helps grow the game, Mike?
I think this is bigger than people think it is on the surface. Like, let's say, for instance, you're not like me. You're not a nerd. There's a people out there. There's a market for autographed stuff. But I go to like Walmart. Shameless plug. I go to the local store and get like a pack of cards, like football or basketball. And I love those things. So this is like the start of something like that. So if you have like a random hat or something else, and you want to sign by like a really good player like a Lyle Thompson, hey, that could be worth something. So the NLL is really good in 10 years, popularity wise. Also, shameless plug, well, really good plug too. Fanatics, they have autographed memorabilia. I hope Frameworth is going to hook up with Fanatics on this.
Great points. Yeah, I think when you talk about sports fandom, a lot of fans also enjoy being able to have, hey, this is autographed by Michael Jordan, or I had Peyton Manning send me this autographed thing. Like, they love to be able to have the shelves in the house of autographed memorabilia. It's special. It's worth more than just even the financial side, but for fans to have a piece of their favorite players, their favorite teams in their home. So I think it is going to be something that definitely helps grow the game. It helps grow the excitement around the game. And it's a major partnership to be able to provide extra exclusivity to the league that is much needed to give that professionalism that the players and the teams deserve. So that being said, we've got games. Lots and lots of games this weekend. And so when we get back from this quick break, Mike and I reminds me of Mike and Ike. But Mike and I will be getting into our picks for the weekend. So be sure to comment with who you think is winning this upcoming weekend. We've got game predictions in just a moment. Be back soon with Mike and Ike. this weekend as we have so much NLL action to get into. So with that, welcome back to Daily Dive as we're getting ready to give our predictions. We've had a chance to talk about the news around the trade, the partnership with Frameworth, as well as the decision by Panther City to name Matt Hasek captain. Well, there's been a lot of changes this week, whether on the field or in the front office, and it's time to see how some of these changes pan out. Not expecting immediate changes, but you never know. So that being said, our first game of the week that I want to get our predictions on, the Firewolves taking on the Thunderbirds. Now, Albany is without Connor Kelly. We did talk about that earlier this week on the show. We are expecting a big crowd, especially Tyson Geik was the main one saying that there should be a big crowd, a big turnout for this game, which is exciting. And Mike, I'm going to let you go first. Who do you anticipate is winning this game that's facing off at 6:30 on TSN?
Shout out to Teddy Jenner, and I believe Pat Gregoire's gonna be with him on that call as well. Although Pat, I don't know if he'd be biased because he's a Halifax guy. Who knows? But the point is, I know Teddy was taking questions, so shout out to him for doing that. We had that retweet on the Daily Dive Lax. I'm gonna go with the Thunderbirds because here's the thing: in Albany, again, home field. It matters sometimes when the fans get behind you in a close game. And Halifax just kept on pouring it on, like 14 goals. And it's like, God, like they couldn't stop them. And I mean, they were playing out of their minds defensively, and Albany still couldn't do anything about it. Now you're telling me no Connor Kelly, and we're going to Halifax? Yeah, no. Give me Halifax to win and cover the 2.5. Maybe late, but then they cover the 2.5 eventually.
Yes. Halifax is the favorite coming into this game, and I'm actually going to go with that as well. I don't see Albany having enough to win this, as you mentioned, especially without Connor Kelly, and I don't think they've made enough. I can't see enough adjustments having been made since the last time they played days ago to now help them win this game. So yes, I'm going to go Halifax on this one. Our Daily Dive game of the week. The Rush taking on the Mammoth. So Saskatchewan on the road at Colorado. We know the Mammoth coming off of a very big weekend last week of some accomplishments, their banner raising and ring ceremony. And obviously, this is the rematch. Mike, who do you have winning this one based on the odds of Sask being the favorite? Are you going with the Rush to win this game too?
That stunned me. That I don't. I know that we've been told by Brian Andrews, and I believe Adam Levy told us as well, that the betting markets are not the greatest for the NLL, and neither is the handicapping, obviously. But 1.5 really was like, I know it was 18-6, but a lot of stuff has happened. Like both teams were played close by Panther City, which makes me believe that both teams are kind of even at this point. I'm going to pick the Rush because I think that they have enough to get to Dylan Ward early as Cody thinks it has to happen. But I'm going to go with ultimately the under 22.5 because Cody Jansen, our guest, did mention that you have to the Mammoth have to keep it close, and I think it will be close. So I'm going to go with the lower scoring game as my best bet, but I'm picking the Rush for the bragging rights.
See, this is a game I'm going to take a leap of faith on and say that the Mammoth win this one. This is a rematch. They're coming for blood, and this is a much different Mammoth team than we saw earlier in the season. I do think it's going to be a close one. I'm glad it's our Daily Dive game of the week because I expect it to live up to the hype. But I'm going to go Colorado on this one. I'm going to split and pick opposite as you. Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling even despite what the odds may be and what predictions may be, I'm going to go with Colorado winning our Daily Dive game of the week. Now on Saturday, Halifax, again, one of the teams that gets to play a second game this weekend as they face the Rock. What a game number 2. There's no actual odds on this one, so nobody was giving their sports bets on this one. I'm actually going to go first. I'm going to go with Toronto. I think any doubleheader weekend is tough, especially when your second game is against a rested Toronto. So had this been flipped, I think they win both games. If they played Toronto first, I think they actually could beat the Rock in the first game and then beat Albany in game 2. But being that it is a unless it's a true blowout against Albany where they get to rest some guys, and I'm going to go with The Rock. What about you, Mike?
That's a great point because I did not think about the Firewolves like doing that. Well, I mean the Halifax Thunderbirds doing that because if you think it would be nice to have your energy be on, the Rock, considering Connor Kelly's not there. Now, this
Right.
was Connor Kelly and Tom Schreiber and the boys. We're looking at 0-2, but I'm going to go with the Rock as well. I really wish there was odds here, but again, the betting markets do not allow this because it is a back to back, and they're like that's free money.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
Rock are going to win this game by how many ever goals? But if
Right.
Halifax does win, it'd be great for the betting future of the NLL. It's the Rock. I don't want to go crazy on this.
And there's never a guarantee. These are top athletes. They are training for these types of weekends, and so you hate to use the back to back as the reason why they would lose. But I think it's the way the back to back is set up. It's less than 24 hours. You're also going to be on the road, home, and then on the road. It's not a terrible trip, but it's still a trip. If you're home for both games, if it's Friday, Sunday versus Friday,
Yeah.
Saturday, like these are components. They're human. You have to take that into consideration.
And we
A
have
little
even
bit.
said, Renee, on the show, real quick, we even said on the show, these guys have personal lives. So until they raise the
That's
salaries,
another
I
thing.
wouldn't even do a home and away. Wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
even do it.
You'd rather have a home, and then at least you get to sleep in your own bed and have your own routine. But speaking of on the road, Panther City on the road with led by Captain Matt Hossack on the road facing the Wings here in the city of brotherly love. Ha. Hmm. Who do you got winning this one, Mike?
I think Panther City has played well the last couple weeks or last 2 or 3 games. I you know me, I was harping on those Dallas fans for putting more love into the Cowboys than the Panther City Lacrosse Club. So I ended up going with Panther City to win, but I don't know if I take the plus 190. I might just go with the plus 2.5 just in case the Wings do have enough offense. Because Wings have enough offense, let's be fair. Ben McIntosh, they showed that expansion franchises could not hang with them in the second half because Las Vegas tried their best and did nothing. So, but I think Panther City does win. But like I said, if gun to my head, I'm going plus 2.5, and I would not be surprised if I'm wrong on this game.
I'm going to pick opposite, and I'm going to say you're going to be wrong in this game. I'm going with the Wings. I think that I think they're a middle of the pack team in the league right now, without a doubt. But I do think that these are the types of games that they're gonna get the results. I imagine that Ben McIntosh and Trevor Baptiste and just the different players that they have are going to be enough to help them hold off Panther City and get another victory and to add to the win column. So there's more games this weekend. We've got to take a quick break, but we've got more to get into, starting with that Swarm Bandits game. So right after this break, we'll give our predictions on the remainder of the games for our Friday the 13th weekend. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Daily Dive, where we are giving our predictions going into week 7. We've talked about some changes around the league, and we've given the predictions on the first 4 games of the weekend. Firewolves at Thunderbirds at 6:30 Friday night. The Rush versus the Mammoth, 9 o'clock Friday night. And then our Saturday games, Thunderbirds at the Rock and Panther City at the Wings, both facing off at 7 p.m. While sticking to Saturday, let's continue talking about our predictions. Welcoming in producer Mike. I'm Renee Washington, and we've got more game picks for you. Now, the Georgia Swarm are facing the Buffalo Bandits on the road. Swarm coming off of a trade where they bring in Jerry Staats for a 2023 second-round pick. I'm going to just jump right in and say it's the Bandits. I don't know if there's much explanation needed here. Buffalo, the better team. We've seen them now in the last game, especially have other players that have stepped up and contributed offensively, which makes them even more dangerous. And this is a team that's without a doubt, fighting for that top spot in the league. And I don't think the Georgia Swarm are going to be able to slow them down.
Okay, so hear me out.
Oh?
I'm picking the Bandits. And I also believe this is the Dane Smith and Josh Byrne game this week. I think last week, let the other guys do their thing. This week, hey, MVPs are back. I am going to not only say Buffalo covers, sorry, Georgia, but I'm also going to say it goes over 24.5. I'm going to give the Swarm some life here. I think Swarm score enough. I think, we saw the Rock on the Thunderbirds try to score against the Bandits, but I think Swarm find a sneaky way to just score some goals because I think Bandits are just going to we're just going to run that up on these guys, which opens the door for an over 24.5 and a cover. Give me all that. Give me the Bandits, though.
Yeah, I could see the Swarm. I could see the game starting out closer and the Swarm possibly surprising them because maybe I don't think anybody will take anybody in this league lightly, but just come out a little bit flat. And then Buffalo's going to wake up without a doubt. And I imagine it being a big second half and this being like a 5+ goal differential.
Let's go 17-12 or something like that.
Yes, exactly. I could see a big win. Seals Roughnecks. So 9:00 Saturday nights, the San Diego Seals are traveling to the Rough House to face the Calgary Roughnecks. We've got both Courier brothers in Calgary. We're not sure if they're both going to be able to play, though, with that trade that just happened this week. But regardless, they'll both be there in Calgary, whether they're both on the field or not. Who do you have winning this one, Mike? This is an interesting one.
It is because the betting markets have Calgary as plus 135 and Seals only minus 165. And Seals only 1.5 point road favorites. Not only do I like the under, but because I like the under, I think Christian Del Bianco is possessed this year. I think he's got a little bit of something behind him.
On Saturday?
Yeah, and I think I'll go with the upset. I think that we get our first loss for the Seals. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. This is close to a game of the week, but, obviously the rematch takes control over that part. But Del Bianco at home has got a little something. I saw Seals have a little bit of vulnerability at home. I think you just turn it on and turn it off. This is a big one. This is a huge Western Conference showdown. I'm going to go with the Roughnecks. I could be dead wrong, but I'm going to go with the Roughnecks.
Yeah, this is a tough one. It absolutely could be our daily dive game of the week, without a doubt. I think you're right in that we've seen the Seals struggle, and I know we've talked about that on the show before. Cooper Perkins was talking about it. We've talked about it on the show before in general of just how they have struggled to start and finish games strong. There's always
that was a great point by you.
Yeah, there's always at some point a drop off. They're struggling to figure out goaltending. Offensively, no question mark there. But defensively, consistency-wise, seems to be the issue. And to see them have close games against the Warriors, be down against the Rush, comeback wins, I think it does show this is a team that can stay the course. They know how to grind out wins. But against an opponent at some point, that catches up to you. But I don't think that's this week. I say all that to say it's not this week. I'm going to pick San Diego to remain undefeated. I know we've talked about which team's going to be the last undefeated team standing. I actually don't think either of our undefeated teams, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, are going to lose this weekend. But I think San Diego's going to have a similar game to like they played against the Rush. I think they are going to be down, but I don't think Calgary's going to have enough to pull it out. I do imagine Christian Del Bianco needing to stand on his head for this game. He's going to have like a 60-save game, at least. But I imagine that the Seals are going to be peppering, as you always like to say, late in the game and just be too much for Calgary. So we'll see, though. This could also be a very physical game. I'm expecting it to be Daily Dive Game of the Week worthy without a doubt. Another game that unfortunately probably, although it could be our Daily Dive Game of the Week for a different reason, because one of our winless teams are going to get a win.
Woohoo! Round of mini applause.
Yes! The Las Vegas Desert Dogs facing the Warriors. It's the first of their back-to-back game playing each other since they face each other again in week 8. And both teams winless. 0-4 for the Warriors, coming off of making some front office moves with their assistant GM and GM. 0-3 Desert Dogs. Someone's getting a win. And who do you think that's going to be, Mike?
There's an unfortunate, gigantic, hairy, ugly, gross monkey on the back of the Vancouver Warriors. It is smelly. It doesn't wash itself. It's starving at the same time as being fat. It's an ugly monkey. They don't, it doesn't matter what they're called. They cannot win.
Super descriptive.
I know. Could you tell me, if I told you that this team had played with Keegan Ball as the most underrated player, if before the season I told you Vegas would be a more consistent team, would you believe me? Like front office, like from the top down?
Yeah.
Vegas showed me they are begging for a win. I know Philadelphia, closed them out, but I don't know if Warriors can do that. I'm going to go with the Desert Dogs to get one here. Oh, they could win next weekend and save it for next week and screw me. But I'm going to go with the Desert Dogs this week.
I'm still picturing this gross monkey that you're talking about. But look,
it's real
I think that the biggest difference to me is this is a new franchise that's winless. This is another franchise that's been having losing seasons for years. And to me, that's in itself going to be a difference. I think the Desert Dogs have shown in their past games, some of their losses are just from youth, not in the sense of young players. Youth as in you have players coming together to play together for the first season. And it takes time to gel. It takes time to get a rhythm going. So I'm going to go with the Desert Dogs because I do think they have been showing more in their losses. And they've been more of their losses are more hard fought. You're seeing encouraging things. There's more positives to take away. Whereas for Vancouver, this has been a crazy week. They're 0-4. They have all this shakeup. It's been a lot. And I think it's not their week yet. I do think they're going to get their first win in the upcoming weeks. I think looking at their schedule, I could see them winning against Vegas next weekend. But we'll get there with our picks once we get to week 8 picks. Right now, I'm picking week 7, the Vegas Desert Dogs to win. And I actually think they're going to win by like 3 or 4. I don't think it's going to be as close. Yeah.
You just want to be posted on our reels. That's all. I'm kidding.
I think the Vegas Desert Dogs are winning by 3 or 4 over the Vancouver Warriors. I can say it with conviction. This is a team that's hungry. They have a little bit more firepower and just untapped potential that's taking time for them to come together. Whereas for the Warriors, they're a team that right now, mentally, I don't know if they've got it. I don't know. It's hard to lose season after season. So I'm going to go when it rains, it pours, and it's going to be raining in Vancouver. Now, our Sunday game, we've got another undefeated team facing another winless team. So could be an opportunity for an upset, as the Riptide have also had some changes this week. Trades, front office moves with the GM getting fired, and looking for that first win. Do they get that first win against the undefeated Rochester Nighthawks, Mike?
So before you watch the Cowboys and Buccaneers stink it up on Monday, and I think there's a few games on Sunday. I lied. I'm thinking this was Monday. Anyways, I tried to make a football reference. It didn't work. Point is, I struggled with this one hard, like more than I'd like to, because I believe our influence is beginning to reach. And when Jeff Teat's father liked to reply to my tweet that was bashing me, I'd like to think Jeff Teat's father's aware. Hey, this guy said you got to be like Steph Curry. I believe the Riptide will score in bunches. Unfortunately, I believe Rylan Hartley has just enough on the road, and the Nighthawks still win. But I think Jeff Teat scores like 10 goals this weekend, all because I called him out, and somebody had to have told him, please, can we get this guy to score some? Stop passing it. Jake Fox isn't there for alley-oops anymore. It's your time. Do it.
Did Dan Teat just? Yeah, I mean, the fact that Jeff Teat's dad is watching you, Mike. You're basically the reason why the Riptide are making these changes. I'm just gonna put it all on you. It's basically what
It's
you're saying to me.
incredible. I
Because
love that team. That's my favorite team, low key. I don't want to be biased, but I love a seafoam green.
I do like that too. I do like that too. I always love a good upset. I love to pick the underdog, but I can't do that in this week. I think that the Riptide are going to turn a corner, but it's not happening yet. I see Rochester, much like I said earlier with the Seals, remaining undefeated. I do think this game actually will be closer than many anticipate. So I could see this being a game that's like tighter, and then maybe the Nighthawks open things up late in the later stretch of the game. But I imagine it's going to be a closer game than most predict. So that's a 3:00 game Sunday after we have our late Saturday night 10:00 game between the two winless Desert Dogs and the Warriors. Then you have the winless Riptide trying to knock off the undefeated Nighthawks 3:00 on Sunday. So lots of action this weekend. I had to count a few times because we've got so many games going on. 8 games this weekend in week 7, kicking off Friday night with the final game facing off Sunday at 3:00. We've given our predictions. Let us know who you think is winning, or if you agree or disagree. You could just like our thoughts, like Jeff Teats' dad did, or you can drop in a comment. But let us know what you think at Daily Dive Lax as we are continuing to bring the breaking news, predictions, recaps, great guests, and much more here each and every day, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Daily Dive. Have a great week 7. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday as Tuesday, because we've got a holiday on Monday. So enjoy your long weekend as we're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and all that he helped to pave the way for within our world, to change our world to be a better place. And I hope you are doing your part this weekend to set some time aside to do the same. So have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you back here on Tuesday for more Daily Dive, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya.